Thank you for doing these briefings. My question is, should Puerto Rico be a state? And how would that help the recovery and the island moving forward? And will you talk to President Trump about that? And one last thing, are you concerned at all that if it does not become a state, that the situation of people leaving the island, exodus of people, will get worse?
Well, yesterday I asked for all of you to reflect on, Puerto Rico, to look at it in a broader perspective. The inequality of Puerto Rico and Puerto Rico is not something that was, here a month ago or even a year ago. It's something that has endured for the better part of a century. And the byproduct or the effect, what produces that inequality is being the oldest, most populated colonial system, colonial territory in the world. So, evident problem. It is no one's particular problem or fault that we have that now, other than looking towards the past. But it is certainly our responsibility right now to fix it. It is certainly the responsibility of all U.S. citizens. If we believe in democracy, rights, if we believe in equality, which are the pillars of our nation, how can we still have a colonial territory with more than 3.5 million U.S. citizens who don't have access to rights, don't have the same political power? How, if we are going to go to Cuba and Afghanistan and ask for democracy, how can we do that? How can we have the moral standing to do that if we're not doing it in our own backyard? So yes, it's an important question. It is a root cause of the problem. It is a root cause of the problem because now we're dealing with public health problems. And the reality is that in Puerto Rico, we receive a third or a fourth of the funds that other U.S. citizens in other jurisdictions. The truth of the matter is that, military and veterans, gave the same sacrifices to the nation they love, but they don't get the same benefits just because they live here. It is a bizarre geographic limitation. It has nothing to do with being a U.S. citizen. It has everything to do with where that U.S. citizen is. I'd like to put an example up front. If you are born in Nebraska or New York, and you decide to move to Puerto Rico, you lose all of those rights. And by the same token, if you were born and raised in Puerto Rico and decide to take a flight to Florida or Texas, gain all of those rights. So certainly it is a consideration. Certainly it is a problem. A lot of the people that don't seem to have the resources to stay over here, to look for those resources elsewhere. And let me tell you, they are not going to Costa Rica, or they are not going to Russia. They are going to states, the United States of America. I have my preference, and the people of Puerto Rico have voted on 2 occasions in the past 5 years that they want to become a state. And this message is loud and clear. But even more so than that, I've stated that U.S. citizens that reside in Puerto Rico are proud U.S. citizens. The vast majority of U.S. citizens here cherish and love their citizenship. And what we need to do is make sure that instead of this being something that is partial, unequal, we have a fiscal oversight board, we have fiscal problems, we don't have access to the markets, we were 2 category 4 or 5 storms, we have a slumping economy for the 2 decades. A lot of this has to do with the unequal initial conditions that the U.S. citizens of Puerto Rico have. So taking this opportunity, yes, if we value what it means to be a U.S. citizen, then we must understand that for us to have the complete of what it really means to have a democracy, have rights, our nation still has over 3.5 million of its U.S. citizens in unequal terms, and I'll tell you, in our path forward towards rebuilding, reconstructing, and making a better Puerto Rico, there would be no stronger demonstration of that commitment than allowing the people of Puerto Rico to exit once and for all this unequal status and be called equal partners.